Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. This is going to be a short video. I don't think we'll be here that long. And it's just the one topic. We're doing something a little different today. Um, probably I will come back later with some other news. There's another story brewing. Nubian Queen, thank you so much for being here first. And Black Queen, thank you so much for being here as always. Um, let's see. Truth is Truth. Sussex Spotlight. And is it Giuseppina? Or am I saying that right? And Sussex Spotlight, Judy Matasset. Judy, you weren't here last night, were you? Um, anyway, I'm feeling better. I'm not coughing as much as I was yesterday. Oh, you guys, I had a rough night. I got the chills. I know I was fighting some kind of infection. Anastasia, thank you so much for being here. Hi, Annie Bennett, Dorothy Ross. Yeah, I don't know how that could happen. I haven't been around anybody, right? At least not without my face mask on. I'm still doing the face mask. I forgot what it felt like to have a cold. It's worse than I recall. No wonder it got me so good because I hadn't been exposed to anybody in ages. But the good news is I am feeling better and I cannot wait to put the whole thing behind me. So, what do you guys think? That is the King Charles III's new official portrait. Yes, Dr. Shola had a lot to say about it. That is his new portrait, and it is a hot mess. I'm wondering how could something like that happen? Now, I believe they officially call it the metamorphosis, as it involves a what do you call it? Well, there it's hard to believe, but there's actually a butterfly mixed in there somewhere. So they call it metamorphosis. And they say metamorphosis. I say hot mess. Hot, smoldering, making its way through the sewer system mess. It's like some of that runoff. Well, let me stop because some of y'all might be eating lunch or something. But yeah, it's pretty bad. It is pretty bad. Um, let me see. Oh yes, Gracie. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was like, I didn't know how bad it was until like later. But yeah, and once I started the Royal Sussex last night, I couldn't stop coughing. I don't know if you guys noticed. I was putting the mute on. That's how I forgot to put the mic back on. It was like, oh boy, where is this coming from? So let's take a look here. Now that is Charles the First. Charles the First was a bit of a dandy, and he fancied himself as, the most attractive man in the land, the most anyway. And if I'm correct, Charles the First is the one that was made about a foot shorter from the neck up. I think he was the one that lost some of his height during his reign because of his benign arrogance, because he pictured himself as an absolute monarch. Chuckles getting ready to give the devil a run for his throne in hell. I say good luck. Thank you so much, Black Queen. I agree with you. I agree with you. There is a special place in hell for somebody who treats his son like that. And not to mention his grandkids by taunting the idea of taking their titles away. Charles has been a horrible, horrible individual. LH, thank you so much for the super sticker. I'm sorry, for the Cash App. And thank you so much for being here this afternoon. I'm glad I noticed that. Um, okay, so that of course is what I love about this is that Charles the First, he wanted everyone to see his likeness as if they were in the room. So you have a profile, you have a regular center portrait, and then you have the what do you call that when it's on an angle? Anyway, and you have that too. So that is a very famous painting of Charles the First. So Charles the Third, who so far gets to keep his head, he had an unveiling ceremony with much fanfare. And so, if you've seen the video, it is hilarious because when he snatches that rope right there, the tarp or whatever cover they have there, that drape, it came down on him and kind of hit him, and he jumped a little bit. But some people say he jumped because of this. King Charles, that is, first official portrait since coronation is unveiled, painted by Jonathan Yeo. Um, it's it looks okay. Okay, it looks like the pits of hell. It does. It looks like the pits of hell. And as you can see, Charles' hands are not as ample as they are in real life. His hands are a lot smaller, still bigger than his face, but then again, it wouldn't be him if it wasn't. But those sausage fingers, well, and he's not even centered on the canvas, which is kind of strange. But do you see the butterfly on his shoulder? That's a butterfly. And there's very little daylight between a moth and a butterfly, right? And what is it about butterflies or moths, that is, that they are so attracted to the light that they will literally fly into a flame? It says the vast oil canvas shows a larger than life King Charles in the uniform of the Welsh Guard. And that one, is that the red uniform? I think the Welsh Guard is the red uniform. The vivid red work, measuring about 8 feet 6 inches by 6 feet 6 inches, by Jonathan Yeo, who has also painted Tony Blair, Sir David Attenborough, and Malala Yousafzai. Queen Camilla is said to have looked at the painting and told Yao, "Yes, you've got him." Yes, you got him with a crossbow, with an M16. Somebody's got him with something. It looks like somebody got him and stripped all of his flesh away. This is the most frightful thing. This is the stuff of nightmares. You got him. Yep, you got him. Yeah, you sure did. You sure did. In the new portrait, the king is depicted sword in hand. Really? Oh, I thought that was okay. Sword in hand, uh, with a butterfly landing on his shoulder. I I I I don't have the words. I don't have the words. Chef Sandy Love says, "Hi, Baron. Thank you for all the effort, even with you catching a cold, and you are still here. We love and appreciate you. Thank you so much, and thank you for 21 months membership." Well, let me tell you guys, I worked outside during the polar vortex. You remember that polar vortex we had? I worked outside during the polar vortex. So it's hard for me to know when I need to sit down somewhere. It's hard for me to know that. Unveilings are always a little nerve wracking, both for the sitter and for the artist, but particularly when one of them is a king. The artist jokes, if this was seen as treasonous if 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 this was seen as treasonous, I don't know what else you would call it. No, I'm sorry, there is another word. High treason. But yeah, if this was seen as treasonous, I could literally pay for it with my head, which would be an appropriate way for a portrait painter to die, to have their head removed. Don't forget and put on a spike and then displayed on London Bridge. In reality, Yo isn't going to lose his head, of course. No executions for a badly received portrait of a monarch in modern times, anyway. Are you sure? Fortunately, he also already had a nod of approval from a key royal figure. The Queen dropped in during the final sitting and said to the artist, um, had captured the king well, and Yeo says the best judge of a portrait is someone who knows your sitter really well because they have instant recognition of whether it feels familiar. Oh, gross. Gross. All I can think about is that famous phone call, the one where they have a transcript. That's all I can think about. As a matter of fact, you cannot look at this and not see it or think it. You just can't. It's almost as if to say, he's got exactly what he wanted. Art imitates life. You get me? Art imitates life. And well, for sure it stands out. For sure it stands out. I mean, if you had to just say, you know, um, I want to put this on the impact wall to make sure that it's the first thing that people see when they walk into the room. That's not necessary. You could put it behind the door. You could put it behind a drape, and somehow I think you're still going to notice this. You're still going to notice it. I've never been inside of a nuclear reactor, but I kind of think that if I ever did go into a nuclear reactor or a slaughterhouse, I've seen this before. Let me see. The king also got a glimpse of it. Yios said in his half-done state, he was initially mildly surprised by the strong color, but otherwise he seemed to be smiling approvingly. It is a vibrant painting. Yeah, you could see it with the naked eye from outer space. Yeah, it is vibrant. How about loud? Vibrant has been overused. Why don't we just call it loud? And so Dr. Scholler says, bloodstained legacy of the British monarchy embodied. I give her a bell for that. Charles unveils red fiery painting of himself as his first post-coronation portrait by artist Jonathan Yeo, who included butterfly to capture his metamorphosis from prince to king. Was that really necessary? I'm trying to think of something that takes 73 years to emerge from its cocoon. Something that takes 73 years to emerge from its cocoon. Um, hmm. I'm not sure this is out yet. I think this is a cocoon. I think that is a cocoon. She's not out yet. Okay, I guess it's him. I guess it's him. Yeah, 73 years for him to get a job before he got the main job. Yeah, he looks like he's being consumed by the fires of hell. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one. I may have to quote you on that one. He looks as though he's being consumed by the fires of hell. Let's see here. The hypocrite should tell him the truth. Charles, are you in hell already? No, give it time. Give it time. And of course, a portrait by Jonathan Yeo of Queen Camilla in 2014 when she was Duchess of Cornwall. Well, he certainly has a flair. I mean, it's not bad. It's a nice textured, modern, rustic looking something. And also the painting's not bad either. Yeah, it's very rustic and rough around the edges. And I have to say that the that's so bad. I have to say that the painting's not bad either. Ah, oh man. Okay, okay. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice. And that's the artist right there. He's also done a portrait of Philip. Now, I think Phillips is very dignified. Although I have to say that yeah, I think it's very dignified. I really do like that one. And it's interesting the way that the texture, the very kind of fuzzy, kind of blurry appearance of his clothing compared to the very, jagged looking image of his face. Yeah, I'll just say it's interesting. I kind of like this one. I kind of like this one. But of course, the first thing I thought about was Mother of Dorian Gray. What have they done? So Oscar Wilde wrote a novel, um, and it was called The Picture of Dorian Gray. And if you don't know the premise is that for perpetual youth, what would you do? So in the novel, which I haven't read, I just saw the movie. Dorian Gray um, commissioned a painting, and over time, instead of him getting older, the painting began to age and wither, and it turned grotesque. Now, there is no actual painting. However, for the movie that was made back in the 50s, I think someone actually did commission the studio commissioned the painting, and that is the painting that you see on the right side. So the one for the book there, I don't know who did that painting, but the one on the right side, that one was a production made for a motion picture. And the actual painting itself, I believe, is at the Art Institute of Chicago. So the painting is on display, and it is a very famous painting because of the book and the movie. But yeah, if you have not seen that movie, there's a new modern version of it, which I tell you was really good. I actually thought it was good. So, but it's a very interesting premise that the subject of the painting ages and becomes grotesque while everybody actually the painting becomes grotesque while the subject of the painting doesn't age in the least bit. As a matter of fact, it almost seems like he got younger. Let me see here. There we go. Yeah, it says the picture of Dorian Gray is a philosophical novel by the Irish writer Oscar Wilde. A shorter novella length version was published in July of 1890, issued issue of the American periodical. it was a magazine, Lippincott Monthly Magazine. Never heard of it. The novel length version was published in 1891. The story revolves around a portrait of Dorian Gray painted by Basil Howard. Howard, yeah, Hallward, Howard, a friend of Dorian's and an artist infatuated with Dorian's beauty. Through Basil, Dorian meets Lord Henry Walton, and soon enthralled by the aristocratic hedonistic worldview, the beauty and sensual fulfillments are the only thing worth pursuing in life. So, yeah, check it out. Matter of fact, I think now I want to read the book. All right, so moving on. There's a so that I believe that is the actor. Who the heck was the actor in the 1950s movie? I don't recall, but that's the actor from the 1950s movie, and that is the actual painting that was used for the. Wow, Angela Lansbury was in that movie back in the 50s. Interesting. I did not know that. Yeah, there was a 2003 remake. Okay. Yeah, so maybe that is a Dorian Gray image of Charles. And there's the artist right there painting. And now, if it was up to me, if I would, hey, Elaine Parker, surprise, surprise. This is going to be a short video, by the way. If it was up to me, I would have just said, just paint this. This is a photograph, a photo portrait of Charles that was taken before the coronation. I think this would have made a better painting. I mean, all that abstract nonsense. He managed to hide his hands here so he wouldn't have to worry about that. And then, of course, there have been times when the Queen has been totally blindsided by some of the most hideous paintings you could imagine. But in each instance, the Queen has said absolutely nothing. She doesn't let her feelings one way or the other. She just goes, yes, interesting. Interesting. Yes, very interesting. It kind of reminds me of back in 1992, a year that I shan't look back upon with undiluted pleasure. It was a horribus animus. Now, this is the Queen's favorite portrait. And this one was painted by, it's called the Watteau painting. And it was painted by Sir William Dargie in 1954. And that was for the trip to Australia, the first time a monarch had ever been to Australia. Um, and yeah, so this is her favorite. That one she approved of. And some of the others, I mean, check this out. Talk about Dorian Gray. Oh wait, let me go back here. That one, let me see. Who was that one? Oh, that was Lucian Freud, Her Majesty the Queen. Is that the name of the painting or the name of the artist? Huh, interesting. And then, of course, the Queen's official portraits, 7 of the most extraordinary paintings from 70 years and over 1,000 sittings. So these are just 7 of the paintings over 70 years of the Queen. Thank you so much, Elaine Parker, for the super sticker. Now, the one in the middle, I think that one looks, oh, that's awful. All of these are bad. All of these are bad. And I think what they were doing was singling out the bad ones. Connie Palmer! Hey, Connie. Yeah, the one in the middle is, all of these are bad. Um, I think the one in the middle and the one on the right are okay. The one from 1998, the Justin Mortimer, that is an actual official painting. I believe once a year, the Queen would sit for a painting. and that's something she had done through her entire reign, is at least once a year she would sit for an official portrait. So there are dozens of portraits of the queen, official portraits. The one on the left is disturbing, lightness of being. That one um, looks post mortem. And then there's the very famous Andy Warhol, and that, of course, is a silk screen. The one at the bottom, I think that is a quilt. It says comfort blanket. Yeah, that one is a quilt. Actually, I kind of dig that one though. It's a lot going on, but I dig that one. And one of my favorites, and I don't want you guys to think that this whole video was just to be a vehicle to be critical of anyone in particular. Of course, it's not. But there's that very famous 2012 painting of Catherine the Great. Yes, Catherine actually handpicked the artist to paint this. And I think he really captured her spirit, right? Wouldn't you say so? Um, Paul Elmsley, Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, 2012, official royal portrait. I kind of think after this, she didn't sit for another portrait for a long time, which is a shame because this one came out so well, right? That's a real shame. I think anybody in Catherine's position should have had at least one done every year. I mean, this one says exactly who she is. And you can see right there, he had been working on it for the longest. And it's in the studio and everything, and so he kept it for a while. Now, without ceremony, unfortunately, the National Portrait Gallery, they removed this from display, so it's no longer on public display. No announcements or anything like that. And but yeah, so if you want to see it, if you go to the National Portrait Gallery in London, it's no longer there. They put it in storage. And then finally, there was another portrait of Will and Kate. And this one, I would say, is much better than the 2012, which I don't think Catherine much cared for. But the problem with this one is that, yes, you know how they are. It seems as though they were coming for Harry and Meghan. Don't you think? I mean, the pose, the wide legged pose that Meghan has, is being copied by William. And then the hand in the pocket that Harry has is also being copied by William. So you have never seen William ever strike a pose like that. And yet he's doing it here to mock his brother and sister in law. Hey, Legs. Legs says, is this before or after she disappeared? Uh, well, I'm going to assume that because it was from 2012, that was before the disappearance. But take a look again. Same artist had created what I believe is a charcoal sketch there on the right side. You know, he has a way of really capturing her. I mean, if you look at that and you study it, it's something about it that says that she's been captured, right? She looks like she's been captured to me. Yeah, suspended in time for eternity. Yeah, he's got her. Anyway, and so it's hard to believe that it was back in 2012 when Kate was what, in her early 30s. I mean, unfortunately, this does age her quite a bit, but she had to be in her early 30s. Fortunately, as well, he didn't try to create that voluminous hair. He decided to go a bit more conservative. Now, I just think that Kate is one of those people that's not easy to paint. Like you can see here, this looks nothing like Kate. As a matter of fact, it almost looks like Kate coming out of the farmer's market. I don't know who the artist is. I could not catch the name, but apparently the gold dress was one of her best looks, and so he tried to capture that in oils, I suppose, but not working for me. It doesn't look like Kate. It doesn't even look like a relative of Kate's. That is not Kate Middleton. So you can see all of these. Where's Kate Middleton? It started before she ever disappeared. Okay, moving on. See what I mean? Even up close, that's not Kate Middleton. That looks nothing like her. Nothing like her. Now, to be fair, I'm sure she did not sit for this painting. And so it probably would have been very difficult for the artist, but still not good. And this guy, he paints a lot of famous people. He's a real butt kisser for the royal family. And that is also supposed to be the Duchess of Cambridge. Now, the, what's her name? The Princess of Wales. And nothing. That I don't think Kate's ever worn a tiara with her hair down like that. So um, he's taken a bit of license. And he's also painted the Queen. That one's not bad. But this is my favorite painting of the Queen. This one right here. I love this painting. I can't make out the name of the artist, but someone decided to take some acrylic paint and paint the Queen on a wooden canvas. She painted the Queen, or he or she painted the Queen being the Queen, being Queen, Queen, Queen. You know what I mean, Queen. But yeah, that's one of my favorite. Oh, okay. They painted the Queen as Freddie Mercury, or as Mercury doing the Queen. Either way, I like it. Okay, and of course, Disney needed an inspiration for the Winnie the Pooh cartoon, and who did they turn to? Prince Charles. Clearly, they turned to Prince Charles, captured him like no one else ever has. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all week, folks. Thank you. Anyway, the royal family's popularity is still on a decline. And you know what? That would make a good portrait of them, just like that. They're still on the decline. So, um, in the spirit of their decline, I just want you to know I'll be taking full advantage of it every day. How about Doja Cat? How about Doja Charles? Doja Cat, Doja Charles. That should have been the official painting. If you're gonna go red, right? If you're gonna go red, then do something that has some purpose behind it. Hey, Lady T. Yeah. Doja Cat, Doja Charles. And then, and I'm almost done, you guys. Just for fun, let's look at some of these uh, illustrated Charles images, like this one here. I kind of think this one is AI. And these. And of course, this one. Which fate for Charles III? Let me see. Will he lose his head or restore the monarchy? Yeah, lose the monarchy, lose his head, or restore the monarchy. Not sure. We'll have to see how it goes. And then, of course, there is this one right here. This is another one of those magazine illustrations. You can see NHS, etc. And then an AI Charles, love that one. And then there's Egg Charles. That was in the Guardian just before. You do you guys remember when the Guardian was like laying heavy into Charles just before the coronation? I loved it. That was like some of the best days of my life. And of course, send in the clowns, Charles, an AI image of Charles III, and Charles with his mouth closed for a change. Charles with nothing to say. Charles the third pick looks like the one of the Ghostbusters 2. Ghostbusters 2, yes. Thank you so much for the super chat. And of course, God save the queen, a king, or queen. We'll save both of them. And then, of course, some artists had to try to recreate Charles for the 50 pence. Yes. And a depiction of Charles for the 50 pence. And of course, the official Charles image for the gold coin special edition. I love how they were careful to include the ear. They had to use a little extra material to get the ear just right. I'm not sure if that's Charles having a stroke or what, but yeah, that's one of my hobbies is saving these illustrations of Charles and another of Charles III. And with that, you guys, I am done for now. I will likely see you all later. So, as an experiment, I am going to toy with the idea of doing these short videos throughout the day instead of being caught in those 3-hour marathons like I did last night. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to play around with this for this week. So, I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, again, this is the official portrait of Charles III, which reminds me of that late night phone call between he and Camilla. They should name this He Finally Got His Wish. That would be a good name. He finally got his wish. It's that bad. It's that bad. Well, at least I wasn't the one that made the phone call, right? Anyway, I will see you guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. And I will, well, I'll talk to you all later. And let's end with the Once Upon a Time